Hello guys and gals, 1930s narrator Aaron here. Thanks for joining us again on our quest to find the perfect pony. We join all of our LOAL friends like Mr. Sprocket, Greg the Cleaner, and Aaron. Thanks for that introduction there, narrator Aaron. And the point today is that we're going to pull pony motors. Yeah, we're pulling more pony motors. But before I get too far on old Karl here, I'm going to take some of these hydraulic lines and stuff off of here so I got a little better access. Let's start by getting rid of all this hydraulic system mess. Whoa, Mr. Sprocket, I knew that was going to happen. Are you okay? I know, you fell. Let's start by removing this hydraulic system mess. Yeah.
And that'll help quite a bit. I still got to get that one low pressure side off, but that's no big deal.
Kind of on my own today. Cleaner's out finishing up the Milo harvest out east here. I'm going to take the seat, the fuel tank, the fenders, the firewall, the hood, all this off, and I'm going to do it off camera. No, not even time lapse. You guys have seen this. One thing for sure, it's going to be a lot easier to get to this pony motor without these brackets for the hydraulic hoses off the dozer in our way. So, let's get done in 3, 2... You know I'm not done yet. I want to show you guys something. Be quiet. Don't wake them up.
Surprise! Sting me.
I have a running feud with wasps here. Let's just leave it at that. I don't have a good history with them. Just give me a few more minutes here. Okay, that's better. No more interruptions by wasps. I got quite a bit done. Not bad for an afternoon's work. Miss Jolene came out to check on me and ended up helping. The cleaner's on his way back home from farming, and we got the pony pulled. I was just thinking about when we did Lefty, it probably took us weeks to get to this point, and then I did this in what, like 3 hours? Yeah. Yeah, so I feel pretty good about that. Although it's late, I was in here jamming to techno. My favorite thing. And with my wife. So, do you guys want the good news or the bad news first? Okay, we'll start with the bad news. The bad news is water. Water everywhere. So let's all have a drink.
Now, I had thought that I drained the antifreeze out of this, and I did. I remember pulling the plug in the radiator and pulling the plugs here when we found water in the oil, and I drained the engine oil. But I pulled the pony motor and water started running out. Doesn't smell like antifreeze, doesn't test like antifreeze. This is a bad sign that something probably froze and broke in here, which really, really has me worried. Especially with the pony motor here. I'm very, very concerned that there's going to be problems with it too. The good news is, I think the internal components in here are going to be good. We have another Eisman magneto, which
somebody's not going to like that I say this, but I prefer the American Bosch ones. I mean, the Eismans have the cool factor. I will give it that.
When I pulled the battery box, there's a small shelf in there that the battery sits on, and then there's a space underneath. I found a very interesting artifact in there.
I found an 8B22 wrench. Now, this is exactly like the one that Timothy Akin sent us that we have used on Lefty and Whiskers and our other D4s. Check out his channel, by the way. I think this would work. I could probably clean it up, but it's very pitted. It's been sitting underneath a leaky battery for a while, so it's pretty rusted. As far as disassembly to this point, it really has me rethinking my life choices, because all the dozer components, all the hydraulics, everything that somebody put on here, they double nutted it with 2 different head size nuts, wrench sizes, and a different size bolt. I'm sure they used what they had on the farm, but it was a nightmare to take apart. It took me a long time, and why 11/16? I mean, why? Another thing I struggled with was the temperature sender going up here into the water neck. I tried to save it. I thought, well, I'll just unscrew it out here. If I can save it up here, then I'll try and save the whole thing. You can't really see the gauge. So I unscrewed it out of here, it broke in half, and then I just said, heck with it, cut it off. I've never found a temperature sensor gauge that I could salvage.
Along with the personality of whoever had this with the double nuts and the bolts and way oversized bolts to hold down things such as just a battery box or a toolbox, which is actually a ad hoc one made out of an ammo box. Look at the stitching they did with baling wire to hold this screen on the front of the radiator. I mean, it is just absolutely...
I'm guessing at some point in this person's life, something rattled loose and broke, or they lost something and they never forgot about it. The bad thing is, I don't know about this engine block. It had water in it. We knew that already. Probably going to get Festus in here. Maybe the 2T. The 2T's got the same block, the same engine. That engine's free. I'm hoping between the three of them that maybe we can make one good tractor out of this.
You're going to put my dad out of work.
Never.
No, I know. And you won't do it right.
Nope, I will not do it right.
Another interesting find on this tractor was
the riser on the seat. It almost looks factory. I don't know
if Caterpillar had a factory riser on the seat. We're definitely going to need that for the Heister winch. It's going to need that room underneath. It had Caterpillar branded bolts on it too.
So there's at least 3 layers of paint on this thing, of yellow paint.
You know what else I found on here?
What else did you find on here?
Odie Green.
That water is really bothering me. This tractor came from Minnesota, and I have not put anything in here. I thought I had drained everything out. The fact that there's water in there and it was up in the Minnesota sub-zero weather, and we have a fair amount of that here ourselves, is very concerning to me.
Mr. Sprocket.
I was laying in bed thinking, and I remembered something when I took this apart, that when I drained the oil out of the pony motor, there was about 2 cups of water in it. Pure water, not antifreeze.
In one of the old videos of Karl here, I drained out the main engine oil, and it was full of pure green antifreeze. A lot of it. I also cracked the radiator, and if I recall, nothing came out. So I assumed the system was completely dry.
What do you think we should do here?
You think?
We're very reluctant to put any more time or money into a tractor that I have a bad feeling is not going to be rebuildable, in the sense it's going to be rebuildable like Lefty was. Too much money, too much effort, not worth the time. So I've turned my attention to...
Okay, let's go look at her. I think the logical solution here is to turn our attention to Sweet 16. It would be more period correct in OD Green, because this is absolutely a World War II era tractor. The diesel engine is also not stuck, and neither is the pony motor. Now, it does have terrible sheet metal. It's got a lot of nonsense underneath that we're going to have to remove. We're going to probably use the track frames off of Karl that's inside the shop. We'll still have a 5-roller frame, just like Sweet 16. We're going to have to do some sprockets. We needed to change the idlers on Karl anyway. This is the logical solution. This is the tractor to turn our attention to.
So, Sweet 16, you're in the Army now.
OMG, that sounds totally amazing.
Hopefully when we get done with Sweet 16 here, she's a regular G.I. Jane.
As for the pony motor on Karl here, I'm still going to take it apart. We're still going to have a look at it, but I got a bad feeling that this pony motor block is cracked.
I know. No more sling blade jokes.
You haven't seen the last of Karl. I'm sure we're going to be getting it back in the shop. I'm sure we're going to be taking the engine apart. I've got a steering clutch issue back there too. We're definitely going to need to take the track frames off of it. And right now, I need to figure out how to get that water out of there and yank this out of the shop.
I think we're going to just pull Festus in here. I'm going to pull the pony motor off of Festus. We've already robbed a ton of parts off of Festus. We're going to leave Sweet 16 alone. We're going to see if Sweet 16 will start. And then we'll maybe pull the pony motor off and dig into it deeper. I was going to take all this stuff off of Festus outside, and then I remembered how ridiculously heavy these hydraulic cylinders are that are in here. So I decided I'd be better off, well, my back would like it better if I did this inside with the crane. Overall, I think Festus here is in a lot better shape than Karl was. I kind of shouldn't have given him names and voices. Now I feel a little bit guilty about what we're about to do. Remember what we did before with Karl? Well, ta-cha! Much better. You remember Lefty's tracks, how much trouble we had with them? Well, this is a machine that they came off of. And that's why those fenders look the way they do. If anybody's worried I was using a cutting torch and there was a bucket of oil, there's not. All that came out of there when I cracked the system to drain it is water. That's all that was in that bucket. And the cutting torch was the best way to do all of this because they are square bolts and carriage bolts and all kinds of weirdness. But now we're done. Now I can get to the pony here, which does not have a lot of back and forth in play. I'm feeling pretty good about this pony motor. I'm just over here jamming to techno, minding my own business, but I found something really cool that I got to share with you guys about these 5Ts. The fuel pressure gauge, they moved it up here on the dash. And there's actually a line, I took it off. It clamps on the top of the pony motor here, and it goes all the way over here and into the back of the fuel tower. So that replaced the gauge that was over here on the side of the fuel tower. Except for the electric start, this is pretty much the same as Karl that we just took apart. I know you're asking yourself right now, well, can't you just remove the pony motor without taking the seat and the fenders off? Well, the seat attaches to the fenders attach to the firewall. Theoretically, you can. You can just take out the firewall, pull it up. You can reach underneath back there, take out the front floor pan, and do it. If I was going to put this back together, get it back on the job, yes, that's probably what I would do. This is not going back together. I might as well have the room to work. Well, it's off of there. And no huge surprises here. Another Devil's block, a 4B666. Was hoping for a newer one. So we got 4 loose ponies in here in the shop. I've got the one off of 4G6667. That's a Devil's block. We got the one off of Wheezy here. That is a 5F9341. The one I just pulled off of Festus here is a 4B666. I have not yet looked and seen what the one off of Karl is. Let's take a look. This is by far one of the filthiest pony motors that we have around here. I see a 4. It's a 4B666. We know that the pony motor on this RD4 runs. We did get it to run. We got it to pop a few times. But we never got this tractor to run, so I'm leaving that one alone. That's the pony motor that's 30 over, that's wore out. This one has a very interesting pony motor because it has a road grader engine. Now this is a narrow 6U. It's had all the components robbed off the top already. I don't know if I can see. It looks like the firewall's already loose. I probably could pull this one fairly quickly. You know, I might just pull this thing in the shop tomorrow and pull that off of here. I see a lot of OD green under there, which is making me think that this is probably a 666. It did have electric start. I've also got the one on this 7U, and I've got the one on that 7U there. Decisions.
This one over here on Buster's not a runner either, but it's not froze. It's got some in play. This one I think though, I could slap a carburetor on, maybe fix a magneto, I think it'll go. The reason I chose not to mess with the one on this 2T here is because I think it'll run on its own the way it is right now. Because with this engine free, if we could just get this running the way it is, put paint on it, change out the track frames, why mess with it? This also has a really good pony motor, like very, very few, if any, into play. You're still ugly. But you, sir, I think I'm going to go ahead and pull this pony motor. It looks like, I did not realize that cover was open. That's not good. But somebody started pulling this. The firewall's already loose. Everything's already loose. All I got to do is pull the bolts off underneath the pony motor, and I can do that with all this on here. I don't think it's going to bother me. I actually hate how good at this I'm getting. A lot of practice lately. And that hood, yeah, it's a good-looking hood. That's the one off the real McCoy here. This tractor didn't have a hood, which we need a 7U hood because, I mean, I got one over there that's pretty rough, but that one obviously has been warped and messed up from the fire. I guess the real question is, do I want to do this here and then have to run back and forth for tools, or do I just fire up the skid steer and drag it over by the shop? I think we both know the answer to that one. Everybody knows how I talk about our pocket flashlight situation. Well, that was resolved yesterday because in the mail I got a very nice gift from a viewer. And look at that. OD green. Absolutely perfect. Also want to take the time to say thank you to the Super Thanks folks. Thank you all, and thanks to everybody that's given Super Thanks. And yes, I did keep the $1 a month memberships. I occasionally throw a little bit of content on there, but they still have access to some members-only videos. I've put a few public. Yeah, buddy, this one's got a 5F block, but the bad news is it's froze. This pony's froze, but I'll take it apart. Might still be salvageable, hopefully. If you were wondering, we call this tractor Grader Hater. This is the one, another one that was voted on. It's kind of a play on the words Raider Hater for the Denver Bronco fans here. I don't watch any sports whatsoever. Never did. Grader Hater's about ready to get his pony removed. Sorry, Broncos fans. Sorry, brother. I should also mention that Grader Hater is a 6U D4. That's the narrow as opposed to the wide 7U right here. Of course, all these are going back out into the D4 parts store. And you're probably wondering, well, how are you going to cover up those holes there? Now you're going to get water in there and everything. Well, I wasn't kidding before when I said I use flex tape. I'll just clean off the surface, tape it up. I'll put some over the intake manifold, even over the exhaust over there too. I absolutely love this. This is that mentality I was talking about. Oiler, what oiler? Just put a plug in it. Another thing I do with the bolt holes that I don't want to get water sitting in them and rust up is I'll take a bunch of grease. I keep old grease around here and just fill it full of grease. Flex tape really does seal this nice. Now you got to clean it up, scrape it off good, degrease it, and I just stick that down on there, and it really does form a nice watertight seal. And then if I'm worried about it or the UV, what it's going to do, then I just take a board or something and put over the top of it. The seat here is going to work perfect for our 2T project. I do have a little place down here where they cut a chunk out of the corner. The rest of it's perfectly straight. That is something I can just stitch weld a little piece of metal as long as I find something that's the same gauge. I can fix it. Fenders, they're trash as you can see. Bolt-on guards here, those will go good on the 2T project. Karl, I'm sorry, this is the end of your series. This is where it stops. All right, then. You fellers have been rather square dealing with me. That pull by Goliath took my pony motor clean off. While I had Festus in here, I went ahead and pulled the valve cover to see how it looks, and it's just got a lot of condensation rust in it. I'm going to dump some marble in there. I know it's pointless. I know I'm just wasting marble mystery oil. Also noticed right here on these injectors, where they thread into the block, these don't have the tamp-in style pre-combustion chambers on the 5Ts, later 2Ts. Look at how they used a chisel to try and unscrew those, instead of using the correct tool. Like the Caterpillar 9B 2029. And welcome to the LOAL kitchen. Today, we're gonna be making a recipe for stuck pistons. I've got all of my ingredients here. A little Marvel Mystery Oil, some automatic transmission fluid. This is Dextron Mercon 3, and an LOAL favorite, the PB Blaster. Will this work?
Probably not. We're just wasting this stuff inside of this old engine, but we're going to give it a try. I've pulled off the valve cover here on Festus, and it looks pretty ugly in there. There's a lot of rust from just condensation internally. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give this a generous soaking of PB Blaster on the valves. You can't be afraid to get plenty in there. Yeah, just soak everything all up. There we go. That's the way to do it. And that'll help prevent and stop some of the rust. Up next, we're going to add our concoction of Marvel Mystery Oil. Yeah, we're going to do the same thing. Just let it soak, let it sink into those valves. And it helps if your valve cover gasket stayed on the block, because it kind of holds this stuff in until it can pour in there, yeah. And we're going to put about 2.5 cups of that, maybe 2 cups. Now we're going to add our transmission fluid. Now, this is just Napa brand that I've had sitting on the shelf for years that we don't really use anymore. You can use whatever you like. A lot of people add diesel fuel at this point. You can add some diesel fuel. I've also heard of, I think, acetone. I'm not sure. There we go. We're going to give that a generous coating. Let that soak those valves. The rockers, give them a good generous coating. And now it's time for the LOAL secret ingredient. A little bit of graphite to taste. I'm just kidding. I didn't put graphite in there. I think I'm just wasting fluid, but it can't hurt. These are going to sit outside. It'll at least prevent the condensation rust from forming. I'm going to do the same thing here with this 6U. As you know, Karl, we've been dumping used motor oil in there forever. I just pulled the valve cover off of this 6U here, and it really looks pretty good in there. Of course, this one's froze too, but I'm going to feed it the same concoction. D4s love this for their meals. I actually dumped some of that same concoction down the exhaust pipe here. I mean, water got in there in the first place. It got in there and stuck everything up, but it's not going to hurt anything, except for the graphite. I didn't put graphite in there. I don't put graphite in anything. It's a joke, guys. Karl's fuel tank had a little bit of diesel left in it. I could burn that in our waste oil stove.
Cleaner cleaning. That OD green makes me so happy. Look at that.
That is the pony motor from 4G6667.
Got the pony motor here from 6U Grader Hater, 5T Karl, and 5T Festus. Over here, cleaner has 7U17655, otherwise known as Wheezy. Pony motor ready to go up to antique crawler parts tomorrow.
I just put all of my unpurchased D4 parts from the D4 parts store back out in the D4 parts store.
We got 2 of them cleaned up and loaded up. Well, not we, Dad cleaned them. But they're ready to go up to antique crawler parts. Dug out a few extra pony motor parts here. I don't know that these are the ones that I think are pests they're prime, and these are the pistons that are 30 over. I'm going to take them just in case anyway, but
I need to pull apart another pony motor because yesterday when I was taking valves apart, one of the keepers shot across the shop, and that is one thing, I just don't have an extra one for pony motor. Got plenty for a D4400 engine valve keepers. Because this pony motor is pretty clean, and it's froze up anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and use it for parts. That is the one that came off of Grader Hater, the 6U D4.
Look at that beautiful sunrise.
How about just one more time lapse, for old time's sake? Remember all the good times we had? Those were some great time lapses. I knew this was going to be bad when I pulled out this dipstick, and when we got this machine, we already knew. I had it covered up, but before, somebody started taking the pony motor components off the top, and they had left it open, and this is what it looks like inside. Pretty ugly. So, I think we're going to pull the heads off here. We've got 2 valves here. Hopefully they're okay, and we can get these pulled out and get a keeper. I could tell from taking this tractor apart, taking this pony motor off of here, that whoever had it was not a mechanic. And if you look, they got tappets in here backwards.
Wrong.
We're going to go ahead and pull this apart. We'll use the parts. The flywheel's good. It'll replace that broken one that we have. It's possible that the lower end of this is not bad. We'll see when we get this head off of here, because What was open was they pulled the magneto off of here and just left it wide open.
Oh, it come right off.
Yeah, that's unusual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially considering, oh my goodness. Nope. Oh, it's like a greasy slime in the bottom of that.
It's mud. Dirt and water.
This has newer, like the steel head gaskets. Victor, these are an aftermarket one. These are good though.
That's good. We need intake valves. We need to take an intake valve because we got a couple that are bad. So I'm really happy we got this out of here. We'll see if we can get the other one out and we'll take it with us for parts. I will say that was quite a struggle getting that out of there. We're going to try and get this other one out too. Dad's got the intake. This is the exhaust. We got it out too. Got a couple keepers now to replace the one we lost, but see the tappet being backwards in there?
It mushroomed the end of the valve stem. See, the guide won't come off unless we grind, file this off. And that's our intake.
The one we need. I got a magnet right here. So.
And the part numbers, well, no, it's an 870.
Yeah, that's aluminum and that's steel.
Yeah. You can tell by the weight, this is much lighter.
I didn't know they made aluminum ones. I've been moving that one around. I didn't know. That's the cam gear. So we have an aluminum and a steel. Who knew? I do want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. When working on classic Caterpillars, there are several types of Caterpillar mechanics you need to be aware of. First, there's the clean everything guy. It has to be perfectly spotless, or it can't go back together. This is a good guy to have. Second, we have the tighten it down guy. This guy double nuts everything and tightens everything to the max to where it almost, or sometimes, breaks the bolts or studs off. Next, we have the good enough guy. It's good enough. They'll run. These engines are very forgiving. You can put the tappets in backwards. Nobody cares. 3 bolts to hold down a pony motor? Who cares? Got an old cereal box? Make a gasket. Square-headed bolts? Why not? The other type is the we'll do it tomorrow guy. Took an engine apart? We'll cover it up tomorrow. Oil changes? We'll do it tomorrow. Mrs. LOAL's out here helping me scrape stuff off. I forgot what I was going to say. What was I going to say?
I don't know.
Are you not going to move from my feet until I pet you? Oh, that sounds like a good deal. I paid the toll. Now I can go. That's a whole pack.
I love being surrounded by cats. Daddy, I want a pony.